Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Taimur Shamil. Prime Minister Imran Khan is on his official visit to China. This is a 4 days visit and second visit of Prime Minister Imran Khan to China. He's there to attend the Belt and Road Forum, and today he spoke at the Belt and Road Forum and he highlighted a few very important points regarding Pakistan-China friendship and also the areas in which Pakistan and China can collaborate, and they have been collaborating. He talked about how Pakistan and China have moved on to the next phase, the second phase of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And in this phase, Pakistan and China would be focusing on agriculture, on economy, and also on jobs. We'll discuss about all those points that Prime Minister talked about today. Pakistan and China are brotherly countries. They have been together through thick and thin, and they have stood with each other through thick and thin. Today, we are going to have an exclusive interview with China's acting ambassador to Pakistan, Mr. Lijian Zhao, on China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, on Pakistan-China relations, and also on the Mr. Xi Jinping's, the Chinese president, his vision about Belt and Road Initiative. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ambassador.
Hi, Taimur.
Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Imran Khan is in China, and today he talked about the strength and the importance of Pakistan-China friendship. How do you see the visit of Prime Minister Imran Khan to China?
Yeah, first of all, it's my great pleasure to join this program. I think today I'm coming on a very good time because the Prime Minister is today in China. His visit mainly is to participate in this Belt and Road Forum for international cooperation. Or to put it shortly, we call it the Belt and Road Summit. This is a multilateral event. We have invited around 40 heads of state, governments, and international organizations. As you mentioned, this is his second visit to China in a very short time, and he is attending. This today. This is called a high-level meeting, and there are 3 stages. The Prime Minister made a keynote speech in the first phase. And tomorrow they will change to another place. They will hold we call it the roundtable meeting of the leaders. And so this summit is 2 parts, and it will be for 2 days. And he is invited because Pakistan is a very important component of this Belt and Road Initiative. As we always say, CPEC is the flagship project under the BRI. And I think he is not only attending this multilateral event, apart from this, he is also having a lot of bilateral activities. He is meeting President Xi Jinping. He is also holding talks with Prime Minister Li Keqiang. At the end of his talks with Prime Minister Li Keqiang, they will witness the signing of quite a number of documents. He is also meeting our Vice President of China. He is also attending a business conference organized, I think, by your embassy in Beijing. So he has quite a busy schedule, bilaterally. And this is a very good visit from the Pakistani side because we from the Chinese side we are paying a lot of attention to this visit. We hope his visit we can have quite a number of deliverables, and especially in the meetings with the Chinese leadership, we hope they can make key decisions about the trade. We have a upgradation of this free trade agreement. We see FTA 2.0 version, and also they will sign a document an MOU on social and economic sector. We have basically made a decision,
Right.
About the list of 27 projects. It will spread across Pakistan. Mostly they are, in the far-flung areas,
right.
in the western provinces. So they will sign this document, and they will also, try to discuss, how to carry forward, this industrial cooperation.
Right.
So, they have a lot of things to discuss between the two leadership.
Right, certainly. And you, I think, touched almost all the important points. Poverty alleviation is something that we can learn from China. This is also what Prime Minister Imran Khan has said repeatedly on, I think, on many platforms. What has been the Chinese way of addressing this issue of poverty? And when we talk about, as you mentioned, far-flung areas in Pakistan, getting to those areas, in that sense, roads are very important, connecting those areas with the main financial hubs. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is doing that. How do you think that Pakistan and China can work on this issue of creating more jobs, let's say, and going to the far-flung areas? In what areas we can collaborate with the Chinese model of alleviating poverty?
I think this is a very good question. In terms of the Chinese experience, we have elevated more than 700 million people out of poverty in the last 30 years. This is a marvelous achievement, and I think we have shared this experience with many other countries. We are also very happy to share it with Pakistan, and I think the most important is not poverty alleviation per se. In China's experience, there's so much number of people have been elevated out of poverty. It is not because of the poverty alleviation programs by the government. It is mainly because of economic development of the country. Because in China, we have been enjoying almost a double-digit growth rate, in the last 40 years. And during this process, naturally, a lot of people have been lifted out of poverty. According to our numbers, almost every month is about 1.5 million people has been lifted out of poverty.
Right.
You see now, we have set up a goal. President Xi has mentioned it many times that China will eliminate absolute poverty by the end of 2020. So this is a very ambitious goal because China, we have a huge population,
right.
And by the end of last year, we have about 30 million people left for still under poverty line. So within these 2 years, so we have a huge task, and we have to lift about 1 million people out of poverty every month. So we are trying to complete this task. I think for China this is doable. There should be no problem. We can achieve this target. For China, we have mainly lifted these people because the cake of economic development has become much bigger. So of course, during the course of economic development, we are also encouraging some mechanism of poverty alleviation. For example, under the government, we have we call it a state office for poverty alleviation. This office is working very well, in terms of reducing poverty. Basically, they have quite a number of experiences. For example, number one, they are trying to link developed provinces and backward provinces. For example, Shanghai, for example, Beijing, they are more developed, so they should help those provinces like Xinjiang, like Tibet,
right, yes.
In the western region. So you link them together. If these provinces, poor provinces, if they don't have investment, send your investors.
So investors would be going to these
Yeah,
areas
if you don't have technology, send
them
your
the technology.
And the other way is they encourage those ministries. We have more than 30 ministries from the central government. And one ministry, if you cannot cover one province, at least you cover 2 or 3 poverty-stricken divisions, districts. So, for example, I'm from the Foreign Office. For the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we are responsible for 3 districts. So every year, from your budget of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you try to help with these 3 districts.
So every institution is putting effort in alleviating poverty.
For example, every year we have to send some people at this direct level, for example, send them to this these districts to become, if not how to say, the chief of this
that project, that thing going on over there,
of this district, or deputy chief, so that you can try to find out the ways, the issues, and how to resolve those issues. Right. And also, number 3, they encourage some big organizations. For example, big state-owned enterprises. These enterprises, they are also controlling a lot of resources. Okay, so you also link with some districts in the far-flung areas. Help them. If they cannot be developed, these state-owned enterprises will be held responsible. And these are this kind of methods. They work very well. And also, we are trying to invent some mechanism. Right. For example, you have to find a way to finance those poverty alleviation projects.
And every area has its own issues. So yes. We need area-wise policy.
Yes.
About addressing the issues. You talked about the far-flung areas. The speed or the pace of China-Pakistan economic corridor at the moment. Is the Pakistani government and the Chinese government on the same page when it comes to the pace of China-Pakistan economic corridor? Because Prime Minister has said, and our Minister for Planning, Mr. Khusro Bakhtiar, that it has entered into its 2nd phase. And are you satisfied, the Pakistani government and the Chinese government, with the pace of China-Pakistan economic corridor?
Yes, I think we are on one page, and in the past 5 years, we see this the first stage of CPEC. It is called the stage of early harvest projects. Basically, we are focusing on 2 issues because when the experts of the 2 countries were sitting together, the Chinese experts asked their Pakistani counterparts, so what are the issues faced by Pakistan? So Pakistani brothers told us that we are faced with 2 bottlenecks of economic development. One is this load shedding, because even in Islamabad, at that time we were
Energy was a big issue.
7 or 8 hours of load shedding.
Right.
And number two is the lack of infrastructure. For Pakistan, you have a huge land.
Land and connectivity and roads.
Yeah, and even from Peshawar to Karachi, you have only M1 and M2. There's no motorway going to Karachi. So we put this project of a motorway from Lahore to Karachi under the CPEC, and so we tried to develop a list of projects basically focusing in this 4 areas, but the priority are these 2 areas. And then in the next stage, we are focusing on a number of areas.
Agriculture and jobs and.
Oh yes,
agriculture is
yes.
one of them.
Yes,
creating more jobs inside Pakistan
yes.
and industrial setups.
Yes, how to create more jobs. It is only through this economic development from through the industrial cooperation. Because in the last 5 years we have basically solved these 2 bottlenecks. So we have laid a solid foundation for industrial cooperation. That's why we are now discussing how to set up the special economic zones. Right. Basically, it is setting up of more factories so that people will have jobs, so that people will have more salary, and you will have a bigger market, and you will have if you have more export, then you will also have more FER, foreign exchange reserve.
Right.
And then the economic growth rate will also pick up. I think this industrial cooperation, it is the number 1 priority in the next stage. So we are discussing how to put this industrial cooperation on the ground. Yes.
How are the Chinese investors looking at this opportunity for industrial cooperation? What is their impression of Pakistan and the economic situation over here?
I think the Chinese investors, they have confidence in the Pakistan's economy. You see, because of the Chinese encouragement of the Chinese government, back in 2013, we were encouraging Chinese companies to come to Pakistan to help you to develop the economy. That's why we started CPEC. At that time, many investors, they fled away from Pakistan. Even your domestic investors, they went to Dubai. They even went to Dhaka, and
that was because of the security situation over here. But
yes.
we will discuss about that in a while.
Yes, and now the security situation is much better.
Much better.
So I think the Chinese investors have a lot of confidence in the prospects of the economy in Pakistan. We believe maybe you have some fiscal
Right.
issue, you have some trade deficit, you have shortage of foreign exchange reserve. We believe those issues are temporary issues.
Temporary. And initially they would be there, but with the passage of time, things will.
Yes, of course, yes. And this is like these problems when during the process of you are growing up. So this is in China we also experienced this same kind of problems. Given time we can solve these problems. So I think the Chinese investors, they have a lot of confidence in the cooperation between China and Pakistan.
Right. You mentioned the Chinese investors, Pakistan and China, and their vision for China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, BRI. Security in that area is very important. securing China-Pakistan economic corridor, and also the interest of Pakistan and the interest of the people of China. Pakistan has been fighting the most notorious terrorist organizations in the region, and Pakistan has fought them successfully, talking about TTP, Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, so many of them who have their perhaps camps in Afghanistan. What do you think about the security situation in Pakistan at the moment and the way we have tackled it?
Yeah, I think, you know, I came here this time from 2015. You know, now is over 4 years. I have witnessed, you know, this process, you know, of improvement of security here in Pakistan. First, you have this military operation in North Waziristan. It's called Zarb-Azb.
Yes.
And then you have this another, after this end of this operation, you have this Rad Sat. I think, you know, you also have, of course, you have also, you know, operation in Karachi, and in other parts of the country. So this, you know, military operation of law enforcement agencies have contributed, you know, a lot. Because Pakistan's security has been greatly improved. So now, if you go, you know, out of your house, you can see people, you know, they are playing cricket on the lawn. The people are doing picnic, barbecue. In the past, you know, I think you cannot, you know, imagine that people, they stay, you know, within the compound of their house. They were afraid of coming out. So I think, you know, the security situation is much better. In terms of CPEC security, I think we should appreciate the assistance and help from the Pakistani government, from the Pakistani law enforcement agencies, especially, you know, the SSD, the Special Security Division, established by Pakistan Army. I think they played a very good role in securing CPEC projects. It's not only CPEC projects, I think all those government-related projects, not only with China, with any other country, they are well protected here in Pakistan. I think, you know, with the passage of time, we are confident that, you know, Pakistan, you know, is becoming a country of peace, development, and prosperity. Pakistan will, you know, enjoy, you know, peace and security,
right.
Because Pakistan is becoming, you know, the new emerging economy. You have a lot of good prospects of, you know, in terms of economic development.
We'll take a break, and after the break we'll continue our discussion. We are having an exclusive interview with China's acting ambassador, Mr. Lijian Zhao, and we are discussing about China-Pakistan relations and Prime Minister's visit to China, where he addressed the second Belt and Road Forum. The prospects are bright, certainly, and both China and Pakistan are working on this mega economic activity, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, keeping in mind that this is also the flagship project of Belt and Road Initiative, a mega initiative taken by President Xi Jinping of China. There are opportunities, but there are challenges as well. There might be some groups, some countries who don't want to see this China-Pakistan Economic Corridor as a success. We'll discuss about those challenges as well. And generally, the narrative that surrounds China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and Pakistan-China relations. After this break, stay with us.
Passion for polo will be the highest on the world's highest polo ground. Shandur invites visitors to experience a traditional polo tournament between the teams of Chitral and Gilgit. The tournament is held on Shandur Pass, the highest polo ground in the world, at 3,700 meters above sea level. The first time a polo tournament took place on the Shandur Pass was in 1936. It is a place unique and exotic in itself, surrounded by some of the most spectacular mountain scenery in the world. The event marks the annual rivalry between the teams of Chitral and Gilgit. The polo tournament has some added attractions for the visitors: trout fishing at the nearby streams and lakes, and a festival of folk dances and music of northern Pakistan. The event in itself offers a fascinating insight into the lifestyle of the people of this region. Their culture and indigenous customs are a delight to behold for the visitors. Crystal clear lakes, snow-covered mountains, alpine flowers, and vast stretches of green grass are added attractions. Fairs and festivals of Pakistan.
Welcome back. We are having an exclusive interview with China's acting ambassador to Pakistan, Mr. Lijian Zhao, and we are discussing Pakistan-China relations, the opportunities that are there for China and Pakistan, and also challenges internally and externally. Mr. Zhao, talking about China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, there were few security challenges. The Chinese consulate in Karachi came under attack. Balochistan has been perhaps a concern for Pakistani authorities and as also for the Chinese authorities. How do you see the security situation over there? Are you concerned about the security situation in Balochistan? And there's also this narrative that surrounds Balochistan at the moment, especially by the spoilers who don't want to see China-Pakistan Economic Corridor as a success. How do you see the challenges?
Yes, of course we are concerned about safety and security of this project. We condemn the attack, the terrorist attack against our consulate general in Karachi. There are a number of incidents involving the Chinese projects. But up to now, we are happy that this, in terms of CPEC projects, not a single person was killed up to now, and we hope that Pakistani law enforcement agencies and Pakistani government can take further measures to address these challenges. Because if you have these people running around, you will scare away the investors, and also not only foreign investors but also domestic investors. So we have to try our best to bring those people to justice. We should not let them have a free hand. Otherwise, it will be finally it will be the people who will suffer from those challenges. Like this recently this incident in Balochistan. These people, they killed about 14 Pakistani people. Yeah, this is a crime. And we have to deal with these organizations in a forceful, in a proper way. Right. That they should be, brought to justice, and we would like to, see a more peaceful and prosperous Pakistan. But first of all, you have to secure, the people. We should give, the people more confidence about the security of the country.
Recently, we also saw that in the neighboring countries in the region, while Pakistan and China are working on the China-Pakistan economic corridor, some countries are not happy with this development. India has been vocal about it. They have been criticizing China-Pakistan economic corridor. When it comes to Pakistan and India relations, we recently saw the rift between Pakistan and India. Also, we have information that India has been backing these terrorist organizations in Balochistan and elsewhere in the region, perhaps in Afghanistan as well. This criticism that is coming from the Indian side and the regional countries, some other countries, international countries as well, big powers, how do you see that criticism on China-Pakistan economic corridor and BRI?
Yeah, I think this BRI and CPEC are economic projects. We have mentioned many times that those projects have nothing to do with territorial integrity, with this territorial disputes. So we don't think that those criticism is reasonable. We are seeing that these projects like CPEC, as the name suggests, is an economic corridor. So it's basically an economic project, and I think for China and Pakistan, we should do our own homework well, to try to put our own house in order. If you can implement these projects very well, if you can complete these projects very well, complete them ahead of schedule, complete them with high quality, don't care about what others are talking about. I think we should focus on economic cooperation between ourselves. Whatever the other people are saying, we know that they are not true. The more is on their head. Well, we cannot control them. So we should do our own homework and neglect those kind of things. Some people are ill-informed. Maybe we can give them more information. But there are some people who have an agenda. Whatever you see, they will say no, and they will criticize, they will blame you. So we should try to do our own homework, and we should not pay too much attention to those kind of things.
Right. Aptly said. And do you think that countries in the region, internationally, and in the region, India for that matter, they're threatened by the rise of China, the rise of China-Pakistan project, and the way both Pakistan and China are working on it?
Well, again, I think China is a country of peace, and we are implementing a foreign policy of peace and development. It's just a BRI, including CPEC, it's designed to improve the well-being of the people, to improve the connectivity among the regions, among different countries. I don't think there is any challenge to any other country. If they perceive that this is a threat, it is their problem. So we don't care about that, and we will try to explain to them if they have this kind of concerns. We'll try to allay their concerns, but we will continue to press ahead with these projects of people's well-being, these economic projects. I think this is good for not only for China, not only for Pakistan, this is also good for the region, this is good for all these Belt and Road countries.
Recently, President Xi Jinping visited Europe, Italy specifically. He was received very well over there. And China is very active in Africa, in South Asia for that matter. So there are some people who might be criticizing China's vision, BRI approach. Perhaps our American friends, they're also concerned about the rise of China. How do you see that? Is that of any concern to China? The narrative that is coming from that side, the criticism?
Yeah, I think, I mentioned to you for this criticism, we should not, take it, that seriously. If you can do your own homework, if somebody has a second opinion, we cannot, control their, voices, but we should, try to present our own narrative. We should clarify the facts. But if they have a second opinion, it's their problem. It's not our problem. Yeah.
Talking about the narrative, talking about Pakistan and generally in the world, the way Muslims are living in China, that is of concern to Pakistani people, Muslims in Pakistan, elsewhere in the Muslim world. The situation of the Muslims in China, this whole thing has been projected in a specific way. How are the Muslims living in China?
Yeah, I think this is a
Xinjiang province, that is very important.
Yeah, this is a very good question. I think in China, the rights of the Muslims are well protected under the constitution. I can let you know that in Xinjiang, in the past, we have thousands of terrorist incidents in the past few years, and almost there had been 400 terrorist incidents every year. But recently, the Chinese government has taken some measures, some good measures, and those terrorist incidents have been under control. I can report to you that in the last 2 years, there has been 0 terrorist incidents in Xinjiang. So you cannot believe it that in Xinjiang now we have every year we have more than 130 million people visiting Xinjiang, including foreign tourists. They can go and have a look, and in Xinjiang, they have halal food. They can pray. They have the freedom to go to the mosques. The rights of Muslims are well protected in Xinjiang. Not only in Xinjiang, Xinjiang is the largest Muslim province in China. We also have another Muslim province called Ningxia. It is not far from Beijing. We also have Muslim districts in different provinces.
And Muslims live in these districts according to their own
Yes,
customs and
yes, of course. This Western propaganda began because they don't want to see this peace and stability has been restored to Xinjiang. In the past, when Xinjiang was, thousands of terrorist incidents were there, they were very happy. They never say that we are treating the Muslims in a bad way. So we know very well, the situation in Xinjiang. If those people who are concerned really about the welfare of Xinjiang people, go and have a look in Xinjiang, go and invest in Xinjiang. Now it is very safe, and we have our own way of developing Xinjiang, and if they have some second opinion, we welcome their criticism, and we hope they will also go and have a look, and not only in Xinjiang, in any part of China, the Muslims they enjoy peace and prosperity just like the other ethnic groups in China.
So it is open for all the people they can go there and see what is happening on the ground in China.
Yes, of course, yes.
Your concluding remarks on Prime Minister's visit to China, and how important is this visit, Prime Minister's visit to China strategically and in terms of economy?
Yeah, I think this visit will go a long way in strengthening the relationship between China and Pakistan. This is one of the most important diplomatic events between China and Pakistan this year. And this year is the founding of the 70 years anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. We hope that we will have more high-level visits between the two countries. We hope that during the visit of the Prime Minister, he can have very good, fruitful meetings with our leadership. The bilateral meetings will take place on 28th, the day after tomorrow. So we hope that they can make crucial decisions in terms of industrial cooperation, in terms of social sector development, so that they will bring CPEC into the next stage, and we can expect more agreements between China and Pakistan. And I hope this visit will bring more deliverables for the people of these two countries.
Certainly, and let's hope for the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Zhao, for joining us. Pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's all from today's exclusive conversation with Ambassador Lijian Zhao, China's acting ambassador to Pakistan. That's all from today's show. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz.